Within 6 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chicago Corner. It is Pizza Friday, but that's not the reason you're seeing me on your screen right now. Jerry Vasilatos is currently battling with nefarious forces that we cannot really talk about on this live stream channel. But in the meantime, we are extremely happy and thrilled and enthused to welcome back some people to the Chicago Corner airwaves. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to welcome back from the Chicago Wine Report, Lainey Peterson and Tom Hall.
Hello.
Lainey and Tom. Lainey and Tom, so great to see you. I'm going to switch places with, actually switch places with Tom. I need you guys up on the top of the screen there.
Yeah, I like being on top. It's good.
Yes.
I can look down on people.
Yes, but only in the good way.
Only in the very best ways, yes.
Yes. It's like a benevolent alien overlords who are hoping to guide this planet in the best possible way.
That's right. That's Tom. Tom provides guidance to all of us in the best possible way.
Yeah. And,
well, I'm not full alien, but my grandmother, she was half alien on her mother's side.
So it is so great to be back here on Chicago Corner, and I've done some Chicago Wine Reports on Chicago Corner in the past. Jerry's been on our show, but it's great to have to reboot Chicago Wine Report as part of Chicago Corner, and we'll be doing regular segments here on Chicago Corner, which is really kind of exciting. No, it's not kind of exciting. It's extremely exciting.
No, it's great because, I was telling Jerry the other day, I'm like, it'd be really cool if we had some more people coming on to talk about their stuff. And Lainey's like, hey, let's talk about wine on your channel. And I'm like, yes, of course. And she's been bugging me for a while for us to do a pizza and wine episode where we pair pizza and wine. And I have deep dish dough fermenting in the refrigerator, so I don't know if you guys are busy tomorrow night, but maybe we can film a little footage. You guys can have some pizza and we can pair it with some wine if you guys are game.
It will not happen this week. I'll tell you why later on, but perhaps maybe in a week or two we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm driving to Michigan with a friend to pick up a foster dog.
Okay.
She's going to foster a Chinese crested. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out.
We will coordinate at a time that's good for all of us, especially for you. I mean, you guys can always just say, look, Ed, this is when we're doing your pizza. Get some dough ready. And I'm like, okay.
That sounds good. Well, we are super excited to be back with the Chicago Wine Report, and we're kind of mixing things up here a little bit because we want to take a more of a neighborhood approach, because Chicago wine shops are very integral parts of their neighborhoods, right, Tom? I mean, these are...
Indeed, they are, yeah. And, we wanted to take a look at a couple of BYOB shops that are of interest, BYOB restaurants. It was sort of triggered when I got invited to this Indian restaurant. And
Yeah.
I had kind of an awkward conversation because, English was not her first language, but she figured out that my corkage question was about BYOB. And she was like, oh, yes, BYOB, yes. So, yeah, there we have it.
So this restaurant that Tom went to was a place in Wicker Park. We all know of Wicker Park, and it was called Indian Paradise. Tom, can you tell us about it?
Sure. It's one of those corners in Wicker Park that's had a lot of turnover. Over the years, it was like a Pan Asian noodle house, and there was some sort of char house and something else before that. But this one looks like it might have some staying power. It's called Indian Paradise, and it's got a very extensive menu with a lot of halal and gluten-free and dairy-free options. So it appeals to a lot of different people. The food there that we tried a bunch of different stuff, including the salmon malai korma, which was amazing. We had the chicken pakoras with the cilantro mint chutney, which was also really delicious. I've tried the turmeric rice, the peas pulao, which is another rice dish, the Kashmiri pulao, which is also a rice dish, and the mushroom masala. And I loved every bit of it. They use a lot of whole foods, whole spices.
Tom, I'm looking at this menu, and I just want one of everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why not?
This is right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah, they're reasonably priced and very flavorful. And, when we brought wine in, they brought wine glasses.
Oh, really? Okay. Sometimes they don't. I mean, okay, I'm actually seeing wine glasses here because sometimes when you go to a place, it's BYOB, but they just give you standard glasses or even flavor improving mugs.
Oh, you got one of those.
I do.
Yeah, those are collector's items now because we're actually in between merch shops.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, we're gonna. As soon as we figure out which interdimensional battle that Jerry has to return from, he's going to help me get our new shop up. But
excellent.
Yeah, I was actually I have a goblet filled with a vintage 2022 Mountain Dew.
What are you getting on the nose there?
It's very heavy on citrus. It's got pretty good legs for a soda. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with it.
One of the things that I wanted to mention about Indian Paradise is that it's on North Avenue around North and Oakley. It's an 8-minute walk from the Damon Blue Line. North Avenue bus stops off right there, and it's a 4-minute walk from the Western Avenue bus stop at Western and North Avenue. So it's, very close, to public. It's easy to walk to from public transportation. Yeah. So that's important for a lot of people. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is Wicker Park. It does not have as many what I would consider to be exclusive or the boutique type bottle shops or wine shops, but there are a couple of bottle shops that are reasonably close there. So if you are making your way down to that area, you can stop at, there's two places in particular. There is Foxtrot, which is kind of a gourmet market, but they also have a lot of so-called natural or low intervention wines. They also have there, and that's at 1576 North Milwaukee Avenue. It's pretty much there at Milwaukee and Damon. Up a little bit north on Damon is Goddess and Grocer. Now that's been around for 20 years, I think, at this point. That is the woman who started it is from Australia. She wanted an Australian style deli, so we can get sandwiches and salads and that sort of thing. But they also have a very nice pointed selection of wines. And of course, also Tom, you mentioned Zen Wine and Spirits, and you found something there.
Yeah, Zen Wine and Spirits is just east of Damon on North Avenue. I think maybe a block and a half, 2 blocks down. It's about 1803 West North Avenue. And when we got invited to the opening party for Let Us Entertain You's latest venture, I encountered Canard Duchesne champagne, which was absolutely delightful. And they've got it there for like $43 a bottle. I know it's
Okay.
not cheap, but it's a wonderful
For a nice
celebration
occasion.
wine.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a lot less expensive than like Veuve Clicquot, and I think it's a lot better also.
It's
Plus,
delicious.
yeah, they have a large refrigerated selection of whites and rosés and champagnes. So, you know, it's not the worst place to go. And it's a little cheaper than, say, Foxtrot, which has the same Canard for like $3 more.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, there's no end of small bottle shops around there. Actually, while I was driving around, I noticed there's the Wicker Park Bodega, which is right near the restaurant. I didn't stop in. It didn't look hopeful for anything interesting in wine, but in an emergency, why not?
Why
And
not? Yes.
yes, why not indeed? But yeah, Goddess and Grocer had a really interesting selection
Yeah.
of wines, including like a Chocolina, which is a lesser known grape from the Basque region of Spain.
It's wonderful.
It is. It's very bright. It's very refreshing. It's got a subtle effervescence that you mostly feel on your tongue more than anything.
Yeah.
And definitely worth checking out. That's in the $25 range. They've got orange wines, which a lot of smaller shops don't even carry. So, you know,
Right.
a nice little selection.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, you also mentioned another BYOB restaurant in the area, Lucia's, I believe it is.
Yeah, Lucas. It's
Lucas.
an Italian restaurant on North Avenue. The address is in the show notes. It's about
Yeah, I've got to get the show
3 or
notes
4
in a
blocks
place
east
in a
of
link I
Damon
can
Avenue.
share here.
1824. I'm sorry, 1825 West North Avenue.
Right. And they've got a BYOB dining room. And I have been there before, and I have multiple food allergies, and they were very accommodating to me. So I think it's
That's
worth
good.
mentioning to them since they were good to me. I've eaten there a couple of times, never had a problem. And, you know, that's worth talking about is like restaurants that not only allow you to bring your own wine, but that accommodate your special needs, like Indian Paradise. You know, if you're on a halal diet, Indian Paradise can take care of you. If you're on a gluten-free diet, they're very careful to note whether the sauces are made with yogurt or coconut milk, so you can make informed decisions about what you eat. So, you know, it's a great thing to have a little list of for friends and family who have special dietary needs.
Also wanted to mention, I mean, Wicker Park, obviously, it's one of the destinations. People go there. There's all kinds of venues and sort of things. There are a few things I did want to mention. There's the Den Theater. And that's a really kind of a special theater. It is, it's basically a multi-storied area. It's at 1331 North Milwaukee. So it's a bit, it's a bit further east, but it is they have wonderful theater there. They have comedy. They have all kinds of things there. They have a bar. But if you want to support local theater and local entertainment and are looking for something, the Den Theater is definitely a place to go to. So, you know, you go out for dinner and you can either walk down there. It's several blocks, but you can get there, or you take an Uber or a bus or whatever you need to. But if you're looking for a place to check out live entertainment, the Den is definitely a place to check out. Also, right there on Milwaukee and Damon, just maybe a few doors down, there is Myopic Bookstore, and that is one of the great used bookstores.
It's practically an institution at this stage. I mean, that has been around so long, and it managed to survive all the change in the neighborhood and stick around.
Yeah, and if anything, it gets better. It's got, I want to say it's essentially three and a half stories, because there's a little loft in there as well. But it is really delightful. The people who work there know how to buy books. so you don't find junk at that bookstore. They're very selective about what they buy, and as a result, you will find quality reading material. They often have a very good selection of cookbooks, great history, biography, art books, you name it. But it's definitely a place worth checking out and bringing your friends. And spend an hour or two browsing books before you head out for whatever you're doing that evening. So that's something as well. They also have something I've never been to, but they do have in the area, the Rail Car Escape Artistry. It's an escape room thing. So if you and your friends are looking for something to do before or after you go out to eat or pick up some wine, check out Rail Car Escape Artistry. That's right there as well.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right, cool.
there are interesting things to do that don't involve going to bars. I mean, if you want to go to a bar or see a show that live music, that's great. But there are other things to do, definitely other things to do in that area. And I would recommend it to everybody, a stop by Myopic Books. So wanted to also kind of move up a little bit north and into Bucktown. We've got, as we call them, we've got some wine bars that are actually slashies. And what they are, the slashy being, of course, they're a bar, but they also sell bottles. And so if you want to just drop in, if you happen to be in the area, you can go in and buy a bottle. You can, or decide to enjoy an evening there. But two of the places that we both really like, first of all, there's a place called Pompette. And
We
that
love
is just
Pompette.
We love Pompette. It is just just an incredibly delightful. It's an all-day cafe, but also a wine bar. And yes, they have a selection of wines by the bottle that you can buy and take with you. They're at 1960 North Damon Avenue, and they are simply delightful. Tom, I mean, you can talk about it.
Yeah, it's wonderful customer service in there. I mean, I felt instantly like I was part of the scene, just warmly embraced, very friendly. When they realized that we were into wine, suddenly we were sampling wine. They were like, oh, well, somebody left this for us to taste. Do you want to taste? It's like, of course we want to taste.
Yeah.
And they absolutely have one of the best happy hours going. I think it's $10 glasses of wine, and it's not swill. It's really good stuff
really good
that
wine.
they serve. And they have wonderful little bites, I think for as little as $5. Isn't that what that olive and manchego
man,
was?
it's one of the best wine snacks I've ever had. They have house marinated olives with chunks of manchego, and they're just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like a citrus marinade. It's really delicious. And it goes so well with wine. It's just one of those great things. And, we had one of the entrees last time we were in. I can't even remember what it was, some kind of fish thing, but it was absolutely wonderful. And
the octopus, I think.
Oh, the octopus. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great place to blow some time. You'll meet some fun people, have a good time, not go away broke.
Yeah, and so I would definitely recommend the Happy Hour. They do have a brunch. They do espresso. They have coffee, very good espresso. When I was there, they had a wonderful foie gras brulee with blackberry jam. It was a blackberry jam brulee on foie gras, and then served with milk bread, which was insane. And actually would make a wonderful brunch. But Pompette is, if you're looking for a nice wine bar or just a cafe, and for people who don't drink or don't want to drink, they're fantastic. Good wines by the bottle as well.
Yeah, it's right at the corner of Damon and Armitage, right there in Bucktown, not too far from Wicker Park. Yeah. Definitely check it out.
Absolutely. The other place that we love is Red and White. And Red and White is it is a bottle shop, and they also have a wine bar restaurant called Moisette. And that is one of the things about Red and White is that they were doing what they call so-called natural or low intervention wines over 10 years ago. And they specialize in wines. When we talk about natural low intervention, there's no regulatory standard for that. But usually what they're talking about is wines that are made by small producers that don't use irrigation, that practice organic, even biodynamic farming, that they don't add a lot of additives to the wines. And so what you're going to find at Red and White are wines that you just are not going to find at too many other places. You might find some because the so-called low intervention wine thing has really caught on. You're going to see more of the wines, these kinds of wines in different places. But in general, these are wines that you're going to find there, and you're going to have to look hard to find them elsewhere. They also
think about natural wines as if it's the same way wines have been made for thousands of years. I mean, commercial interventions, commercial fertilizers, and insecticides are relatively recent inventions. And the sort of natural wine movement rejects all of that and wants to get back to basics. So that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah. They also have this lovely wine bar cafe restaurant in there. A couple of things about them. If you buy a bottle of wine, they have wines by the glass, and they have a changing menu of wines by the glass. However, if you buy a bottle in the shop, the corkage is only $10. And that is a very good deal, because typically when you're in a restaurant or even a wine bar, the cost of a bottle of wine at that level on the menu is going to be triple the retail value of that wine. So a $10 corkage is a really good deal. And on Thursdays, they waive the corkage. So if you are looking to go out with friends and you're up for buying a bottle rather than drinking wine by the glass, going to Red and White and of course the reds are on the racks, can be a really good deal. The other thing is their food is excellent. They have particularly good oysters. Right, Tom?
Yeah. Well, they also, it's worth mentioning, they have a weekly tasting every Saturday afternoon. And if you're a member of their wine club, it's free. And they'll usually have between 4 and 6 bottles to taste. And if you're not a member, it's $10 for the tasting. But generally, it's worth it. I mean, when we were there last time, we tasted those Joe Landron wines from France, the Muscadets, and it, that was 4 bottles of really excellent wine. And, afterwards, we just wanted just a little bit more. So we bought one of the bottles. It was $21. We paid the $10 corkage fee. And we had those amazing Prince Edward Island small sweet oysters. And they're something I'd never seen before, which was a minuet sauce. That's a vinegar sauce made with shallots, but it was made with rosé wine vinegar, which is something I haven't encountered before. I've seen red wine and white wine vinegar, but that was a first. So yeah, definitely some unique things on offer there. And we have that amazing sheep's milk cheese with the electric orange rind. I don't know how that happened, but it was delicious.
And their olives we love olives. You should understand that Tom and I both really love olives. And their olives there are superb. They also have this wonderful French butter, and you can get an order of bread and butter. It's a very simple thing, but it's absolutely exquisite. It's not a cheap place to go necessarily, but it is really wonderful. Also, the menu changes regularly. So, when you come in, what they have is what they have. It's going to be chef's whim, but it's a lot of fun. And as Tom points out, their tastings are very good. The tastings are almost always led by a representative of a wine distributor. And they tend to have very knowledgeable distributors that come in there. You can actually talk to these folks. They've traveled. They know the producers. Occasionally, they actually bring in the producer. When we were there, Joe Landron could not come in, but he sent one of his people from France to pour the wines and talk to us. And that's a great experience.
Yeah, it really was. And, it wasn't enough that we had done the wine tasting, they could see that we were enthusiastic and that we were really grooving on what they were doing. And one of the people at Red and White offered us a taste of something else, like, hey, if you like that, you might like this, which was just, I don't know, it's customer service above and beyond. And we just love that at the Chicago Wine Report.
We really do.
Whenever we encounter it, we shout it out because really it's kind of a lost art in a lot of ways.
There's another a bottle shop in Bucktown called Door 24. Kevin Kenny. As a matter of fact, Kevin has met our own Jerry Vasilatos. They were on our show at one point together during the holidays. But this is another bottle shop. It is not a wine bar. It is at 2124 North Damon Avenue, but there are restaurants in the area. So if you're looking for a BYOB thing, this could be definitely a place where you could pick up a bottle of wine. They have some beers and that sort of thing. But they have, in my opinion, one of the best curated selections of wine. They have everything from very approachable stuff to more esoteric stuff. They've got a great price range. Kevin, is a guy. And they also have regular Friday night wine tastings, which are free. Yes. So, if you are in that area and walking around, why not try some wine? It's something for you to do on a Friday evening, and then pick it up and go and have it with your deep dish pizza, or take it to wherever you happen to be going. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome place.
Yeah, they have.
They got a wine crawl tomorrow.
Yeah,
Crawl, huh? That's an interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've been known to do a wine crawl here and there.
Well, you start off as a walk.
You start off as a
walk. Yeah. Start off with then you go into a saunter, and then maybe you're crawling around. But yeah, I mean, that's another gem in Bucktown. Yeah. They also do. They also have regular classes. As you see, there's an Alsace wine class. And that's I think usually around $30, but you're going to get a fair amount of wine. You're going to sit there. You're going to be led through a bunch of bottles of wine, of a wine region, and you'll really get into those bottles, get some education there. It is, they do a good job.
Yeah. Kevin has a deep knowledge. He's came up through the restaurant industry. I think he started working in restaurants as a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was lucky enough to have somebody kind of take him under his wing and teach him about wine, because, wine is a great way in a restaurant to ring the total up.
Yeah.
And thus raise the tip. So, he learned that way, and he's very knowledgeable, especially about Italian wines, which are wonderful for food pairing. We've encountered a lot of Italian wines. Frankly, they're underappreciated and underpriced. So definitely hit him up for some of his deep knowledge about the subject.
Sure. And one thing I also wanted to mention about Bucktown, particularly if you're over at Red and White, right down the street on Oakley from Red and White is one of the famous dive bars and live music venues in the city, the Gallery Cabaret. And this place is unbelievable. It's a place of legend. A lot of Smashing Pumpkins, Liz Phair, they got their start playing there because Kenny Strandberg, the founder, and now his son owns it, Mike. But Kenny was an entertainer in Las Vegas back in the day, and he's always had a soft spot for musicians and acts, and so. They have a live entertainment every night, no cover. So here's the thing about the Gallery Cabaret. It's actually got what's called in Chicago a cabaret license. And when you have a cabaret license, you can have live entertainment, but you can't charge cover. Now they'll pass the hat and you can tip or whatever you want to do, but there's no cover. So you can go and see a live show for the cost of a few drinks. You can go see a live show. So you go over to Red and White,
cover.
Right? And you are over at Red and White, one of the most elegant wine bars around, and then you get to walk on down to a dive bar. They've got draft specials, and just kind of hang out. They also they are actually a gallery. They are a gallery. They have original art which switches up. I think once or twice a month. They have art shows periodically there where people can sell their stuff in the afternoons. It's really a cool place to be. And they nurture artists, which includes musicians, but it's definitely a place to check out. So again, go buy some wine or go hang out and have a nice dinner, and then go relax with a couple of beers and see a show.
Yeah, it looks like a great place to hang out and have a
It really is. And they have poetry, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty something else. It always has been.
Yeah, we're going to have to go for one of those poetry readings.
Why don't we? And we'll take Edward with us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, all you have to do really say is like, "Come on, we're going."
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right. Yeah, I've done my share of poetry slam attendance, but most of those were like on Sundays at the Green Mill.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's cool to hear that there's other places that are doing the poetry too.
Tom,
right.
It's Bastille Day, isn't it?
Vive la France.
I'd heard that.
Yeah, in honor of Bastille Day, while I was poking around Wicker Park and taking pictures of some of the venues we were talking about today, I picked up a little bottle of French wine from one of our favorite producers, Kermit Lynch, Macon Village, Henri Perso. And I filmed a little shot of a little short reel of me opening the bottle and pouring out the first glass. That is on our Instagram page, Chicago Wine Report. Please like and subscribe. And
I was going to put Tom on the big screen with the wine bottle, but since now we've got producer Ned there, I think we're just going to leave him there.
Yeah, producer Ned.
All right. Well, hold on a second. Maybe I can play that video. Is it long?
No, it's 43 seconds.
Let me see if I can find you guys on the... Here we go. I got you right on my thing here, on my screen. And we are looking at the Chicago Wine Report as I stall here, trying to find... Is it the last reel that you posted?
Probably. I posted it less than an hour ago.
All right, great. Then let's see if I can... Hold on a minute.
With my very pretty tiled lamp.
And by the way, if anybody in the audience has some wine questions, shoot them in the comments, and Edward and producer Ned will be sure that they get to us.
Yeah, let's see if I... Wait, no, that's not it.
That's it.
That's it.
Hold on, I need the right layout for this.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Let me... let's get this sucker going from the beginning. Turn the music.
I'm just prepping for tonight's show by celebrating Bastille Day. A little bit of French wine. Nothing terribly expensive today, just a favored importer. Kermit Lynch, if you don't know who he is.
Oh.
Nope.
Come on, Internet.
I'm just prepping for tonight's show.
This thing won't let me fast forward, will it?
Celebrating Bastille
That's all right.
Day.
It's only 43
a little bit
seconds.
of French wine.
Okay.
Nothing terribly expensive today, just a favored importer. Kermit Lynch, if you don't know who he is, you should get to know him. He's imported some really wonderful wines. It's got quite the price range. This one's about $25. I've seen Kermit Lynch imports for as little as $12.
Kermit Lynch is the man.
Oh, yeah. Happy Bastille Day, everybody.
There you have it.
That's awesome.
All right.
Tell us
Yeah,
about the wine.
it's a really nice wine. It's got some of that. It's Chardonnay, Macon Village. It's from the it's a Bourgogne. It's a Burgundy. It's a white Burgundy.
Yeah.
So it's got some of that. They call it yellow fruit in the wine world, where you've got a combination of, say, lemon and banana and maybe quince going on, and some nice acidity. So it would be very food friendly. I would love having this with some fish, maybe some tinned fish if you're on some sort of fancy picnic, some aged cheese. It's wonderful. I'm enjoying it very much.
I think anything that Kermit Lynch imports, I tend to trust.
Well, yeah, and it's worth mentioning that sometimes, wine can be intimidating. And if you have anything to latch onto, it helps break through the overwhelming experience of looking at 1,000 different bottles. So, when I saw Kermit Lynch and the right price, I was like, ooh, okay, that's it. Or I have the same kind of reaction when I see a German wine imported by Von Boden, for example.
Right.
So it's something else to look for on a wine label other than varietal and location.
You just mentioned Von Boden. Von Boden is, for those of you who don't know, a one of the best importers of German and Austrian wines around. Colin Moody, he's been a guest on our show. He's the local rep. He goes over to Germany and Austria. As he says, he sleeps on their floors, he eats in their kitchens. He gets to know these producers, and if something is imported by Von Boden, I know it's going to be good. It's the same thing with Kermit Lynch.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I mean, this one in particular came from Foxtrot, which is, right there on the corner of Milwaukee and Damon. And they had it in the refrigerated case. So it's the kind of grab and go thing you could take to your BYOB experience.
Yep.
And, I've also encountered Kermit Lynch at one of my favorite bottle shops, which is up in Andersonville. It's Andersonville Wine and Spirits.
All right, let's talk about that. That's a hidden gem. Well, we're going to do Andersonville eventually, but
yes,
that's a
we
hidden
are.
gem.
But it's always worth mentioning these guys. They're just super nice, and they have a wide range of wines that are very affordable. And one of them was an Italian wine, Tintero. It's like $11.99 or something like that. Very inexpensive for a wine, and it's got. I mean, it's not anything super spectacular, but it's got, nice fruit flavors. It's got a little effervescence, and it's got just a hint of bitterness to keep it interesting. And, for that price, it's hard to get complexity for, $12.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you don't want complexity depending on what you're pairing it with, right? I mean, sometimes you just want something that's going to go, yeah, this tastes like wine. It's got some good fruit flavors in there. It's not like sugary sweet like cough syrup, and I'm enjoying it with this Italian beef sandwich.
Well, the thing about anything that has like a little bit of acid or a little hint of bitterness, it's going to pair well with food. So, it goes well with what you're eating. This is, wine is a food in a lot of cultures. And we just, we always eat when we drink. Whenever we're together, Lainey and I, we always grab something to eat. If we're at home, it's crackers and cheese and maybe some tinned fish or smoked salmon or something. It's always better with food.
Yeah. I remember, I love to tell the story of the first time I encountered a wine pairing. And what did happen, this was many years ago. The person who got me started in wine was a guy named Rodney Alex, who had a place called A Taste, Juicy Wine, Stinky Cheese in Wicker Park. And right there along North Ave. It was a fantastic place, but he had in the shop a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, not one of my favorite grapes, but it was a Chilean. And this is back before Chile was getting some really good wine, doing some really good wine, but it was a Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon, $10 a bottle. By today's standards, it would probably be around $16, $17, but at the time it was $10 a bottle. And it was fine. It was a fine wine. And this was back when Leona's was still doing their thing. And Leona's had a garlic pizza. And Leona's pizzas were fine. I mean, they weren't great, but they were fine. So I opened up this bottle of wine and I have this garlic pizza. And the combination sung. The garlic pizza made the wine taste better. The wine made the pizza taste better.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that had ever happened. And it blew my mind, and it completely changed how I understood wine and food. And there it is.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I was at Indian Paradise, because the first time I brought a bottle with me, I brought a bottle that Lainey had given me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bottle of rosé from, I believe it's from California, called Acid Freak.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a high acid wine. And it's got a very trippy label on the bottle. And the producer likes to do acid on the beach in Mexico. So,
That's how it was inspired. Yes.
there you have it. But she suggested that I try it with some spicy Thai food. But I figured it would probably go just as well with spicy Indian food. And it really did. And, I went with friends who don't really drink wine. They enjoyed it immensely. I had a little bit left over. And honestly, it was not the same without the food. Like, it didn't sing without something spicy. So,
Yeah.
the pairings, they're real.
Yeah, there it is.
Is that the one?
Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can find it, definitely check into it. Get something spicy, like Lainey said, some Thai food or, like Indian food or anything intensely flavored. It will totally work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a 2021 from
I think
on
that's what I
eBay. You can find that one on eBay for about $30. So that's
All right. I didn't know they sell wine on eBay.
apparently they do.
They sell
I'm as surprised
toast
as you
with
are.
the face of Christ on it, so you can get anything on eBay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. All right. So, yeah, I mean, wine is wonderful. And the other thing I'm going to mention here, we've been talking about bottle shops and BYOB places. One thing I do recommend is that if you're doing to a BYOB restaurant, take the time to look for a bottle shop in the area. The reason is very simple. The people who work at the bottle shops know the local restaurants. And they know how when you go in and you say, I'm going to this restaurant, I need a bottle of wine, they'll be able to guide you. And it's the kind of customer service that is so important in the wine world and that exists in the wine world. But definitely, if you can, try to find something local, because they've been to the restaurant, they've eaten there, they know the owners, they know the chefs, and they can absolutely guide you to the right bottle.
Yeah, it reminds me of that time we went to Independent Spirits.
Yeah.
And we were headed to Alice and Friends, which is a vegan restaurant up on Broadway, right?
Yeah.
North Broadway in Rogers Park.
Yeah. Edgewater.
Edgewater, yes. And, he had some very specific recommendations, and, it was a reasonably priced kind of sweet wine, which was not something I normally would have gone for. But it really paired beautifully. Yeah, Muller-Thurgow. Yeah.
It was a $16 bottle of wine, Muller-Thurgow, and Alice and Friends is one. Again, we'll go over Edgewater soon, but I'll tell you, if you like, this is vegan food, and trust me on this. If you think you don't like vegan food, Alice and Friends will change your mind. So we'll do a full review at some point, though.
Yeah.
So there we are. I think, Tom, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Any questions from the chat about wines? Or
well, let's take a look at the chat and see who's in there. We had Uncle Warren was in there. I should remind all of you, if you joined us late, again, Jerry's battling some interdimensional beings in another location, mostly related to his internet connection. But if you didn't get a chance to see me and Jerry on Uncle Warren's channel, Mundus Ultra, we were on there last night talking about Vegas aliens and stuff. So check that out. And we'll be resuming our normal broadcast schedule on Tuesday, hopefully, with all the team operating on all thrusters. Back into the chat, though, where Pilgrim, thanks for joining us. Douglas Trapasso says,
hey, Douglas, good to see you.
Says, I almost don't recognize Chicago from that opening. It looks so pretty, and there are no tornadoes in sight.
I guess they're now reporting 11. There was 11 tornadoes in the area.
There was one about 5 miles from my house.
Yeah, we had tornadoes touch down at both airports, which I think is a first. Just a lot of craziness with people's trees getting uprooted and few houses getting damaged, and it's just been some crazy weather these days. Are there any wines that you would pair with a tornado?
I think, well, if you're if you're like in a direct path of a tornado, I say break out the most expensive bottle in your cellar, because you might as well go out happy.
That's a great
I think champagne goes with everything. So yeah, that's my advice.
Yep. So Jerry confirms the nefarious forces are indeed connected to RCN and Astound.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, we'll be dealing with them in a future broadcast. Evil laugh. I'm not supposed to tell you it's an evil laugh. Okay. So I'm so glad you all joined us here for the return of the Chicago Wine Report.
Thrilled to be here and looking forward to coming back. And hopefully we'll start bringing some guests from the wine industry on as well to interview.
That'd be great. And anytime you guys want to do like a quick update or anything, you want to send us any videos our way, tune us into any of your Instagram posts that you think we might want to share with the viewers. We're happy to throw them up on the screen and share them with everybody else, because look, life is too short to not have times when you want to, eat and drink and be merry, even in these weird, crazy times. So if you have the opportunity, at least it's nice to know that there's some people out there who have eaten and drank and been merry and have good suggestions for where you can do all three.
Absolutely.
Well, honestly, it was wine that kind of got Lainey and I through the pandemic. I mean, we were both kind of in our own little bubbles. We weren't out and about much. I wasn't working at the time, and she was working remotely. So we would just get together and hang out and have snacks and drink. And this kind of evolved into the Wine Report.
It did.
And, it's a wonderful way to spend time with friends, talking about what a wine smells like, what it tastes like, what it pairs well with. It's a fun intellectual exercise, and it's a terrific experience. So, everyone should drink more. That's my advice.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to drink more, it's a great opportunity to find out what kinds of wines that you like. If you like wine.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like, well, I'm more of a beer person, or maybe, I'm a martini or a whiskey person. That's fine, but you'll never know until you try. So sometimes it's nice to try new things.
Maybe sometime, Edward, we could get together at Birch Road Club, which is the BYOB social club that Tom and I belong to. You've been there. And maybe have a Chicago Corner, Chicago Wine Report mashup meet. Have some of our friends and supporters all come out, and we'll drink some wine, eat some pizza, and other snacks.
That
and
sounds like a great idea.
If we get enough people, we can open a bunch of liter bottles, which are Lainey's favorites, because they have 250 milliliters more than other bottles.
Oh, yes, and of course, then you can share.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a lower carbon footprint.
It is.
Yes.
I'm a size queen.
Okay. All right. So if you want to see more content from Chicago Wine Report, well, we're almost certainly having them back here on Chicago Corner, but you can also find them at chicagowinereport.substack.com. And I think we've got their link tree as well. Let me put their link tree up on the screen. It's is it linktr.ee? Is that what? Yeah. Okay.
Chicago Wine Report.
Yeah. linktr.ee/Chicago Wine Report. And so thank you, everyone.
At Chicago Wine Report on Instagram. That's where we do most of our posting. We're also on Facebook, but if you're on Instagram, you're going to get the same things.
Yeah. And their link tree has links to all of that stuff. And
that's
also,
right.
In the show description, I also put in links to their Substack link tree and Instagram accounts.
Yep.
So thank you all for joining us tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content, I implore you to share it with everyone on planet Earth. And if you are not from planet Earth, share it everywhere else in the galaxy. Hit the like button on all the things that have like buttons on them. And if you really like us, you can support us at patreon.com/Chicago Corner. And we're putting together some little perks there on Chicago Corner. I know Lainey just suggested a great one that I'm thinking we need to dot the I's and cross the T's, dot the T's and cross the I's, one or both, to figure out the plan for that. But right now, if you donate at least $5 a month, you have the amazing opportunity, if you want, to join us as a guest here on Chicago Corner and give us your 2 cents on wine and food and restaurants and local news stories or anything you want to talk about. So consider being a Patreon supporter and head over to patreon.com/Chicago Corner.
Please do support Chicago Corner, support local independent media.
Yeah. So, we're getting right on to 9 o'clock here, and I want to
we went on for a while.
We did it, Lainey
and
Tom. We did it. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I hope you'll tune in again the next time we're live. Most likely that's going to be Tuesday evening around 7:30 p.m. Central Time. But if we have any other special broadcasts, we will let you know. And please support local broadcasters. Please support local business, restaurants, and wine bars. And make sure that you're following Chicago Wine Report on all the platforms that they are on, because they're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So everyone, good night.
Good night. Good to see Uncle Warren. And Facebook user who says, and drink the good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Drink the good stuff.
Drink more wine.
Vintage Mountain Dew right here.
Yeah, Mountain Dew, whatever. Or tea, depending on your, drink whatever you want.
I'm sorry, I drank all my wine. I forgot to refill my wine cellar that doesn't actually exist. But I used to be a drinker of wines. I used to like the Cabernets.
All right.
But it's been a while since I've been like, oh, let's take a weekend and drink a bottle of wine kind of guy. But I could start doing that again, maybe.
Well, we'll have you over to Birch Road, and we'll just drink a bottle of wine between the three of us. It won't be such a big deal.
Yeah, and if we can get Jerry, then we can plan Chicago Wine Report and Chicago Corner meetups for our supporters.
Yeah, and I'm sure our supporters, if you're one of our supporters and you're local, it'll be a good time when we get together with food and drink. So, that's a perk of being a Patreon supporter. You have those opportunities when we get our ducks in a row with those opportunities, because I know I still owe you guys a pizza party. So I'm working on that. But
all right.
I already know that some of our Patreon supporters are already bugging me about that. So
maybe we do it over at Lincoln Park, where we've got that nice area over there, the long table, and then we've got the living room area.
Anywhere that we have access to an oven, we can do a pizza party. I can make that happen. So
we can talk. Well, I'll talk to some people. We'll talk. All right.
So I've gabbed enough for this evening, but I know we're happy to have Lainey and Tom here, and we hope to see them soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Oh, fuck this noise, man.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. If you would like to be a guest on Chicago Corner, please email our host, Jerry, at chicagocorner.tv.